Sure. I've seen you a long time. Because I'm talking about it. Nice. How are you? How are you? Oh, yes. Hey, these are. You went to that time, yeah, you went to Colorado. And I made it to the US. Yeah, I'm good. So the buttons are, so that's why. Yeah, Father, how are you going now? I'm sure we're just going on to work. Well, I don't like to do that. I got my own.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel this up because you cried. Oh, of course.
Big deal. That's a big But we're talking about righteous service, all the questions. We need these. Somebody prayed his daughter gets really shitty.
It's like this. It would be said at wedding. It's actually worked out. You're right. What's going things
We said, how we yes, well, how much you judges? Well, whatever I do, business or whatever.
If you would all take a seat, if we need some more chairs, then I'll get you. I'm going to call this meeting to order of Planning and Zoning Commission for today, July 13th, as it is now 2 p.m. So let's have a roll call vote, please.
I can do it.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Chair J.R. Trujillo,
Present.
Vice Chair Joe Salazar,
Present.
Commissioner William Borrego,
Yes.
Commissioner Bustos, here, Commissioner Martinez,
Here.
Commissioner Gwynn, Commissioner Chavez.
Yeah.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chief.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So we all stand and we read some.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States.
So at this point, folks, bear with us. We're waiting for our city attorney to join us. So we're going to have a 5-minute recess and then let's do a 10-minute recess. Do you think that'll be sufficient? Come in recess till while we wait for our other turn. Okay?
Yeah, the restrooms are down the hall to your left if anybody's not.
Sir.
Yeah, Matt, you sit down. It's just for the basket.
Is he here? Yes.
He's not good. He did, but.
Yeah, check him out.
Oh, there's.
Who's that, chair? Okay.
Yeah.
Been a lot of years, like, such a day. I'm sure we don't have any suggestions. The organizer.
We were singing. And I could. we do in the city, for the city very seriously, so we want to make sure we're all doing the right thing the right way. But we bear with us, there are some conditions, some issues, before we're hearing tonight that we're gonna pass it through, and you'll all agree, with. So let's get back to the agenda. We're going to have approval of agenda. Before we have approval of agenda, I'd like to make some recommendations and some changes to the agenda. I am going to be moving public comments from item number 8 to item number 5. Just swapping that of the commission down at the bottom and putting public comments up at the top. I'm also going to recommend that we remove from the public hearings item number 1 and item number 3. People that have come to speak on those items, please, we'd like to hear what you say under public comments. It's basically for a lack of information on our part, and in the packets, and also for some questions in the code. So these are very big projects, and we want to make sure that when we do hear them and we do act on them, we act on them in the correct way. So those would be the amendments to the agenda. So I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
First and a second. Can you call roll call?
Yes. Chair Trujillo,
For the motion.
Commissioner Salazar,
For the motion.
Commissioner Bustos. For the motion. Commissioner Martinez,
For the motion.
Commissioner Glenn. For the motion. Commissioner Chavez,
For the motion.
motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much, Elizabeth. So with that, I'm going to open up comments from the public comments, and because of the size of the crowd, I'm going to ask you to limit your comments to 2 minutes each, please, if you like. If you are going to make public comments, you want to sign in, there's a sign-in sheet. And I'm going to have Elizabeth or Rebecca, you can call people up one at a time to make their comments.
And then you identify their name and address.
Yes, identify your name and address and come and podium.
You look at the call.
Yeah.
Rebecca.
He's still signing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like this.
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Yes.
before we begin, listening to the public, would you like to maybe explain a little bit why we're not going to be hearing them too?
I think that's a great idea, team. While we're waiting for the sign up, so,
I've got it when you're ready.
okay. So in reviewing the request, so first off, item number 1. And Mr. Fulgenzi, I want to comment as an individual and as the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I welcome beautiful homes in Española. This being one of the first subdivisions we had in many, many years, we want to make sure that it's done correctly because as we all know, Española has some little quirks. The quirk is, number 1, the property sits primarily in a B2 commercial district that doesn't allow housing at this point. Special use allowance only allows you to have use of that in that particular for housing for a certain period, a start date and an end date, no longer than 5 years. At that point, you have to come back for approval to continue the special use. I think that would be very problematic for your buyers in regards to even title insurance. So we want to make sure that we move forward in the correct process. And I'm going to suggest to you that you meet with myself, with our city attorney, with our city planning director, and we talk about a solid path forward. And I apologize for it being bounced around a little bit. There's no excuse other than we've had some turmoil within our city, sad to say, but we don't want to lose you as a potential developer. Okay, so I hope we can fast track that, Rebecca, and you, Mr. Fulgenzi, so we can meet soon and get a concrete path forward. I don't know what's been shared with you, but obviously, it's, in my opinion, it's not the correct process. Okay, but I still want to hear from the public on what your concerns are. We don't have anything in the form of a final plat to look at, which would actually be the next step. Because last meeting you were given a preliminary on the idea.
We were given preliminary approval.
Yeah, on the preliminary approval is given, which means now you bring in the final draft of things, and it's come before the board here. And then we recommend it to the council for their decision. They're the ones that do final approval of the subdivision.
Right, but the final approval cannot be issued until we get through these issues.
Well, not necessarily. That's what we need to talk about. There's some other avenues there that we think you need to consider. Okay. Yes,
Commissioner
Rebecca.
Trujillo, if I may, just to clarify to the audience and individuals who are unfamiliar with this process, and this seems a little confusing, this means that this case will have to be heard again, and that's what you're hearing right now is this dialogue. Does that make a little more sense? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
We definitely can hear about the variance in regards to a block wall. That's pretty easy because it's commercial property for a wall like property. You can definitely hear that if you want to hear that. So we can hear that. We can act on that. In regards to item number 3, there's a little confusion there with the applications for an RV park, but the fact that it calls it a hotel. We also didn't get the site plan information until just now, which doesn't give the commission a fair opportunity to see what's happening, know what's happening. We do not like to make rash decisions. Okay, we'll be here on the RV vintage park. As an individual in Española, I would welcome that type of development too. I have no problem with that. But again, we want to hear it correctly. We want to hear what we need to hear so we can make a good solid decision on behalf of the city. So with that being said, I'm all for public comments, and Elizabeth, would you please call the first person?
Yes, sir. Philip Trujillo.
Oh,
My name is Philip Trio. I'm an attorney. I own property on Calle Aguilar,
Mr. Trujillo, could you say your address?
PO Box 190, Santa Cruz, 87567.
Thank you, sir.
And I don't know enough about this vintage mobile home park to be for or against it, but I kind of lean against it. I don't know what the word vintage means.
Mr. Trio, one thing, we have a 1.5 minute time.
Yes, sir.
So
I'm
you
watching.
just- so there you go. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. I'm not sure what the word vintage means, but if it means old mobile homes or old RV vehicles, I'd have a problem with that. The area is basically a residential area. It sits around the Burger King. And so privacy would certainly be disturbed, privacy of the housing that's there already. The access to the property, I believe, is very limited. If you look at the Calle Aguilar right now, it looks like it's 20 or 30 feet wide. But in reality, the property owners have a private easement. It's not a dedicated city road, and it's only 15 feet wide. If the property owners extended their fences into the easement, you would have 15 feet left, which is probably as wide as a mobile home or a RV of the size I'm envisioning at any rate. So I have a problem with access. I have a problem with privacy.
Mr.
Other than
Trujillo,
that,
your time is.
Thank
other than
you.
that, I don't have any other issues,
Thank you.
but I am against it right now.
Eva Trujillo.
Having lived in Aguilar for a few years,
Mr. Trujillo, your address, please.
PO Box 190, Santa Cruz.
Thank you.
It is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the sewer line that goes down through Calle Aguilar goes into a lift station that like Keliste. I don't know how you would handle the infrastructure for an RV park or, what did you say, a little motel on that land without creating sewer problems for all of the neighbors. I would not vote to approve it at all.
That's good. Thank you.
Pedro Valdez.
My name is Pedro Valdez and I'm at 1008 RV Street. I'm concerned for the past 3 years, I've been bringing this items about our neighbor. And you keep changing directors. So in the past 3 years, I've dealt with that many directors. But I just want to let you know that I'm concerned about safety, about a fire hazard that this neighbor has with this pictures and we pass it around. Property is supposed to be with the buildings 20 feet away from the road. This gentleman bought this property and we built already right next to the road. He's already got all this junk that I call junk. It might be a treasure for him, but it's junk. And he's got it up to the road and he's already started on the other side of the road. He's got property where he can put all his stuff in, but no, he puts it right on the road. And I just want to see if either you give him a permit to put a fence or to put that stuff there, and or do something about it. But I think it's a fire hazard. So if you look at the pictures, even for the traffic, in case of an emergency, they can't get across.
Where is this located?
It's located on 1011.
Yeah, we can't.
You just can't engage with the public.
It's 1011 Harvey Street, the neighbor. Okay, thank you.
Lynette Campos?
I live at 504C Kaya Lot. Next to where they're gonna put the vintage trailer park.
Can you spell the street? The last, not the Calle.
Aguilar.
Oh, Aguilar, no.
Yes. So my concerns are through that property, we have power lines, we have sewer lines, and we have our water lines. And then there's an easement that goes from Calle Aguilar through that property to the two-story house that's also located in that back area. You know, the concerns with having the excess traffic in and out, like Philip was saying, the easement right of coming in and being able to turn on that lot. With this rains and stuff we've had, there was probably three inches of water standing there for, you know, for a month easy. And so all that property there is very saturated. I mean, even if you go out there with a tractor to try to mow it, you will sink down, even during the middle of the summertime when it's hot. So the concerns are that it's not gonna be safe for the people that live there or that are trying to live in there. You know, the problem with people that already live there as a residential, and now you wanna put a motel and vintage trailer park in there. We already have enough problems with the homeless shelter, where they come back through there and they're ripping things off and everything else. Bringing this business into a small motel is gonna bring that back farther into the area, which it's making it very unsafe for us. So at this time, I would say no to the vintage RV park or motel.
I'm not sure I can read this name, Romero?
Pamela.
Daniel Romero.
No, Pamela.
Oh, Pamela. Your P and your first letters are so beautiful. So I couldn't read.
Yeah, just stand here, so we know where they are at.
Mr. Shin.
I would like you to come. Everybody speaking, just give us your name and address. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Shin.
My name is Pamela Romero. I live in 504C Kayakila, and my property is right in front of the person that purchased property in front of me. My concern is that my utilities run through there, and I do have an easement to go through there. And I don't know anything about how it's gonna be set up, or how many RV trailers are gonna be there. And I don't know if they're supposed to be 10 or 15 feet away from the fence line inside. But I thought it's gonna be, I like the peace and quiet, and it's gonna be random people living there. I felt that there's gonna be too much traffic. There's gonna be, I don't feel like the road kind of is gonna be wide enough for the traffic to go through there. And we're gonna have the RV people there, will be coming in and out. It's gonna create Pizza Hut and the restaurant traffic going through there too. And then the kayak guys, there is children that live in that area, you know, could be coming traffic, could be causing an issue for kids and stuff like that. I don't know much how it's, like I said, I don't know how it's gonna be set up, and I don't know if that's gonna be like a temporary RV park or it's gonna be a permanent. And it's gonna cost too much, I wanna feel safe where I'm at. And there's I don't think it's big enough to have an RV park there at all.
Just remember your time. Sorry.
Yes.
Leona Locklear. Did I say that? Yes, you did. Thank you.
Leona Locklear, 509 Calle Aguilar. And I am opposed to this because when living there, I have children that are always usually running around, and currently we already have a problem with the homeless, and we're going to open it up and have a lot more people, a lot more traffic going through there. And I just believe that's going to be more unsafe than what we already are dealing with the homeless population coming through where they're at, and getting law enforcement to be able to even to respond to our concerns is very limited. They don't acknowledge us, or they don't respond in a timely manner. And now we're going to open it up to have more situations there. So how are we going to have support from our law enforcement to be able to come in and if there's anything that goes wrong? So I don't feel safe. I don't feel that my family would be safe with that particular thing. And in addition, we had a large truck run through there, and they actually cracked the water lines. And it was just a larger truck, much less than RV. So I already believe that that's going to add more problems to it. In addition to the sewer, we've had problems with our sewer because of the homeless population putting stuff in the sewer. You guys have had to come out multiple times and clean the sewer out, and it's backed up all of our sewers. And then now you're going to add all this other on top of it. So I don't believe that it's something that is safe or beneficial for our community.
Maria Dagan. Deegan.
My name is Maria Deegan. I live at 648 North Riverside Drive, Hub C. I just moved into this property about 8 months ago, and I bought it because it was nice and quiet and it seemed very safe. I don't have children yet, but I want to. But the issues that I have are there will be an increased chance of fire. We've already had to call the fire department multiple times on the homeless population next to us because they're starting campfires. And if we have other people behind us, that could also lead to fireworks and other incendiaries and other like just cigarette butts that could just start the brush. And it's kind of dry always. So I have issues that there will be increased noise around. I'm a very light sleeper, I don't know about anyone else. Privacy issues. It's like a chain link fence isn't gonna do much, and I can't really change it currently because it's set in stone, literally. And the city won't actually pick up my trash at the end of my easement. So how are they going to pick up the waste for anything behind me when they won't come through anyway? I have to take my trash up to Pizza Hut to get it picked up. So if they don't pick up trash, there's gonna be traffic at these places, and therefore increased chances for feral animals, wild animals, and dangerous situations for youngins who don't know how to deal with, I don't know, mountain lions, other things. So that's my issue with it. I would vote no.
Matthew Casados.
Matthew Casados, 2100 Velarde Lane,
I'm sorry, give me the number again.
2100 Velarde Lane.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the commission, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. I think for the most part, I'm here to kind of You've already kind of heard everything that's going on in High Aguilar, that's what I'm here to speak of. I think you got several issues here that, and I applaud the idea, the decision to move this to a different time. I don't think this was ready to be heard. There's a lot of things missing from this particular project. Typically, if we weren't looking for a special use project, there'd be a development plan which would address all of the concerns that are kind of being talked about today. A site plan, landscaping plan, all of these different positions and pieces that need to go into this, they're not existent on this. In fact, the very idea that the definition of what this is problematic. Is it actually a motel? Is it actually an RV park? Is it a combination of both? And depending on what that definition is, there's no way to see whether or not it actually fits into the comprehensive plan, whether it's a business or not. So we need to have some idea of what the definition of this thing is actually is before moving forward. Some of the items, just to give an idea of where I'm sure we'll be coming back to, is easement and traffic. There's a problem there. We know that there is a problem at the very turnoff in the front of that particular intersection. It needs to be addressed. It's dangerous currently. Adding traffic is going to make it more dangerous. They've already talked about the idea of utility and storm sewer and how those are going to be met. And the problems there, I won't go into them because for those of you who know me, which is quite the majority of you actually, know I'm not really good at keeping on time. Security and how that's going to be addressed. As well as, and going kind of back to easement, traffic and such. This past year, we already had problems getting Española Fire back there to fight fire in the coastal area. So the idea comes in is how are we going to have turnabouts and everything else for fire, ambulance, not to mention public. How do they get in and out of there as we go about? So I'm sure my time is coming out, but I think the idea of taking this a little bit further, before we say yay, nay, against, for, and doing a little bit more work on the development plans are probably necessary. Thank you.
Adam Casados?
I'm Adon Casado.
Adon?
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
and I just gave over what they talked about, so I'm against proposal.
Can you state your address, Mr. Edward? Can you state your address where you live?
819 East Pueblo.
Okay, thank you.
819 East Pueblo?
Yes.
Pueblo?
Thank you.
Monothy Hill?
So my name is Mona Duval and I live on 504 West Federal Street. And I think it would cause a lot of problems with the weigh station, the lift station that's there. And I've gone down Calle Aguilar, which sits right behind Purple Street. And I've seen how congested it is, even to turn around there in that neighborhood. There's the homeless issue. Also, they're walking around all hours of the night and like crime. So I totally vote against this.
Gerald Fulgenzi?
I don't know.
Monica Fulgenzi? No comment. Jolene Wu? Oh, Jocelyn, stop.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, my name is Jocelyn Wu. I live at 508 Middle San Pedro Road. And I have a comment for, and I'm glad that the Fulgenzi's are here, I haven't gotten to them yet, but on number 2. Specifically, concerns, I also support and advance the comment that property would be, the value that would be added to our properties from a subdivision is welcome. But I share the concerns I believe that were previously mentioned of other members of the community about increased traffic, but also have questions about the motivation of building a wall that is greater than 6 feet. Specifically one, in my opinion, this is a citizen here, it suggests that the idea is to obtain more privacy, with consideration being privacy from those outside of the subdivision. My home is located directly across from it. And so I would like more explanation from the builders as to why they feel that that's necessary and how that's consistent with the idea of bringing more resources, more good traffic, and building community within the Mill San Pedro area. This is, of course, if I have more time, on top of the fact that there are traffic concerns. It is already a very narrow road, as mentioned, in the Rio Grande Sun article, that does not allow for more than one vehicle to pass at the same time. Of course, the acequia could potentially, be an area that where the road could be expanded, but I would like to see the proposal include investment in the neighborhood and existing neighbors to build community if we are going to bring 6 other homes into the area. So that's my personal opinion. Again, primary reason, if the height of the wall is so important and we're building community, just like a little more explanation about that. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ricardo Martinez.
Good evening, my name is Richard Martinez, my address is P O Box 2191, Santa Cruz, New Mexico 87567. I'm representing Kathleen Borrego and Mary Borrego. Yeah, Middle San Pedro Road. I'll get to it real quick. The current fence is 23, on the west side is 23 feet from the top of the bank of the ditch. And on the east side is 22 feet. The proposed wall is going to be an approximately 22.5 feet from the existing ditch. I'm just a civil engineer, but there is no physical way to have turning movements for construction trucks, delivery trucks, and garbage trucks to make that entrance. What I recommend is a 1 foot no access easement along the south side of your development to be responsible, because right now it's an irresponsible design. And that would, what it would do is it would prevent catalytic converter thieves and drug distribution professionals from using that road as a business, access. The other thing is Santa Clara Legal has no knowledge of the proposed development, and they're probably encouraged to put liens or restrictions on sale of homes, because they claim that that's part of their road. The sewer outfall capacity study, I don't know if one was made, but right now the sewer gets overwhelmed with just the current use. So that would be something, and I'm certain of the traffic study that was required, and that's been completed. I'm not sure about that. The other thing is a 1 or 2-story homes and grading and paving plans are required. Also, 1.5 acres of storm drain detention plans, programs. Outfall is going to be toward the ditch, I imagine. And then I know that there's a tax increase. So back to the wall, is that the 6-foot increase to that would probably benefit the current or the proposed owners for a little more privacy. But if it's done correctly, that would be a good thing possibly. But currently the current egress to Mill San Pedro Road is an irresponsible design, and whoever's promoting that basically is promoting something that's irresponsible. My time is up.
That's all.
Thank you very much for the public. You're welcome to stay as long as you like. We're going to be here until the agenda is done. So next, we're going to hear from our code enforcement officer.
Mr. Chairman,
We move that down, changed it with the matters from the commission to public comments.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
So my name is Matthew Flores. I'm the code enforcement officer for the city of Española. So I'm going to brief you today on what we have been working on throughout the city.
Sorry about that. We can build it here.
That's all right.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so in front of you, you should have a list of properties that we've been monitoring that have multiple violations such as overgrown vegetation, unsafe structures, trash, etc. Now we have a process on how we send violation letters. First violation, we send a letter, we give them 14 days to respond. If they don't respond, a second letter will go out, giving them an additional 14 days. Then a third letter will go out, giving them an additional 14 days. Now, if they don't respond within that third letter, then we hire our inside contractors who will go out there and clean this property and bill them for the work they've done. Now, that, once it's billed, we put the lien on the property, and that bill, as much as they charge, we add it to what the lien is gonna be on. Now, if it's an unsafe structure that needs to be boarded up, condemned, whatever, the contractor will go out there, board it up, charge us for it, we pay them, that's also on the lien. If it's an unsafe structure that needs to be demoed, we get a quote from the contractor who's gonna demo it, and we also add that to the lien as well. Now, I know there's been multiple calls on properties that we're continuously working on, such as 1011 Barbie Street. The past two directors that we've had have found no violations at this house. We've had the fire marshal inspect the residence and did a report finding no violations as well. Now, I know there's other properties throughout the city of Española that have the same problem, where we're constantly getting calls about the violations that are happening that we have found none. We're working with the homeowners to try to clean up their yard, give them time if they need to, if there is, if we do find a little bit of vegetation growth or whatever it is. But that's pretty much what we're working on. Every day we're getting calls, nuisance calls about vegetation overgrowth. The homeless camps that are set up, we're trying to do our best to keep the properties clean. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions for you? Yes, Katie?
You said 3 letters are sent 14 days each apart. Are these letters certified or are they?
They are certified.
So you get back from them that they.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are they sent to the individual living there or the property owner? Sometimes they're different.
Usually it's the property owner. And then the property owner will contact whoever's, if they're renting it or whoever's living there.
So usually the property owner, not.
It's usually the property owner.
Okay, can we probably make sure that it's going to the property
Right.
owner? They're not the same at times.
Right.
To give that individual. So based upon these pictures that was handed to me by Mr. Lopez, have you been there yourself? And
Yes, sir.
Here, be some
We
kind
were-
of violation.
We
here,
were
right?
just there earlier today. So what that is he has like flower pots and stuff like that are there. Mr. John Maestas, I believe, is the homeowner. He also has he's elderly gentleman. He also has a doctor's note and so on and so forth. He can't be outside very much. We're trying to give him time to clean up this. We're not saying that we're just letting it slide, but we are giving him time to clean this property. I know he has, so across where his house is, he has another piece of property that needs some cleaning up, but we're giving him this time to clean it up.
So there's a violation and you're just giving him time?
There's definitely a violation on that one piece of property, but the pictures there's no violation. That is connected to his main part of his house, and we have had inspected by the fire marshal.
Have you talked to Mr. Valdez?
We have,
Okay.
and we did let him know that there was no violations on those.
Matthew,
Okay.
I was actually at Mr. Valdez's house the other day, and actually I pointed it out to him, I looked down that road and that gentleman's part of the road is getting smaller and smaller and thinner because he's pretty much encroaching out onto the road.
Right.
I didn't look to see what he's putting out there.
So the city easement is at what, 20?
Cause that road's not that.
That's by.
I believe it was measured out at close to 25.
Cause it does, all the other homes probably set back 5 feet.
From the roadway.
Yeah, well, their yards and everything and his treasures or
Right.
whatever he has are on the road.
Right, and we have told him, before the fire marshal went and inspected, he did have a violation to where he had built onto that treasure he has,
Whatever they are.
but he was blocking this entrance, the gas meter and so on and so forth, and he did take that down. So he is trying to, clean it up a little bit, but like I said, he's a valuable gentleman, he's taking his time on it.
Any other questions? Matt, I'd like to make a comment to you, and mine was not here, but I've had the experience of watching you guys in action, and I have to say, I witnessed you being firm, fair, and serious, and I think that's a great way to be as code enforcement. It's a tough job. I'm glad you're working with individuals and giving some time besides these days, especially for the elderly. But we've talked before, you don't want to see a dirty city, built city, crime city, dangerous city, and I appreciate that. Plus, you do have some law enforcement background, is that correct?
I do.
And once you share that with the commissioners, they understand also some of the background of law enforcement, that's really positive.
So I started in the end of 2009 with the City of Española Detention Clinic. From there, last year, I started working with the police department a little bit. Supposed to be set up for the academy now in January. So I've been a little bit of background.
Might lose you back for the police department or what?
Probably.
No, supposed to get certified in code enforcement.
Well, thank you, Matthew. Thank
Yes, sir.
you. I'm sorry, I was, you can't address the public, but.
Commissioner Borrego had brought up in the past meeting. There's people selling cars all along the roads, especially like at Riverside Drive, maybe even down the road here. The parking their vehicles, like, are they required to have licensing permitting to do this, like I said, on the road?
How does that work? They do? So they have to have them outside their lot, right? That's what you're talking about.
You mean the individual?
Individuals, but some of them will have 5 to 10 cars parked there, especially on North Riverside Drive. There's a large amount of cars that are parked up there.
Where's the set?
It's actually very close to, you're getting close to the Okeo. That area.
I think I've seen that.
Right at the border of the city.
Right, yeah,
But they are supposed to have a business license in order to sell.
Right, and then we have this one right up the road here where they're selling hard ones, and they have their cars parked on the outside of the fence instead of in the property.
Right. I'm not sure how that, if they have the business license part of that, can they sell outside of their?
So this business down the road, he does have a license to sell, although he does have cars parked on the state highway.
Right. So is that a city issue? Is that a highway department of transportation?
He probably will be getting a notice violation.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts from the commission? Matthew, thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
There was a question, is the public allowed?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Commissioner, if I may.
Yes.
If the public does have some complaints that are kind of been brought up in this meeting or further concerns, I have some cards up here if you want to email me. If it's a code enforcement issue, I can get you over there. So, thank you.
So next, we're gonna move on to our action items, new business, we're gonna be hearing on public hearings. Mr. Borgeni, did you want to move forward with case number 2, the block one? Okay, so let's move to the public hearings. Okay, let's see. So let me read a statement to everybody. The following cases are quasi-judicial in nature, and the hearing will be conducted under provisions required by the New Mexico Court of Appeals. This includes the identification of parties and the swearing in of all those who wish to provide testimony. The opportunity of cross-examination to ask questions will be provided to all parties. So I'm going to open public hearing number 2023-07. It is now 6:58 p.m. and it will be variance for Garen Fulgenzi, applicant, requests approval to build a block wall exceeding the 6-foot height allowable in chapter 350 of the city of Española Code on a 6-lot subdivision in a B2 zone at 610 S Riverside Drive, UPC. Following. Just a clarification on that, so it is not a 6 lot subdivision yet, so I don't know, is that something we need to clarify in the public hearing announcement?
Mr. Chair, I think it depends on what the application is. Right now, it's a single track. And they can consider a variance for whatever goes on that track. But not what goes on lots that don't yet exist. I don't know, Mr. Porcenzi, what he had to present here, but it makes sense to me to combine that with the subdivision approval rather than separately.
You can go forward, well, okay, hang on. We're almost there, Mr. President. So let me request from the commissioners, are there any conflicts of interest, so that's part of the communication in regards to this situation? Okay, good. All right. So let's identify and swear in the parties. So City Clerk, will you please swear in the parties? Speaking on behalf of this, would you raise your hand? Who's going to speak on for or against this particular public hearing? Mr. Pordenzi? Okay. And Rebecca, you speak on
I may speak on matters that staff can answer.
Yeah. So we can start with that one.
I don't have the language.
Oh, let me do it.
I haven't done that.
Do you swear or affirm, Mr. Pugliese, raise your right hand, raise your right hand, Rebecca, do you swear and affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Are there any neighboring property owners that will give a notice they're going to speak as well? No? You are, sir?
James Algar, speaking for my daughter Debbie.
Did you sign in on the sheet? Would you sign in real quick and then I'll swear you in? Any other property owners that receive notice that are will testify today? Would you stand and raise your right hand, please? So do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth? Okay, thank you. Anybody from the general public that did not receive notice that just wants to speak on behalf of this public hearing? No? So staff, if you would please present your case.
I'm gonna hand this off to Darren Fulgenzi for his PowerPoint presentation. I will be available for questions following this. There's a lot of this will be presented in this PowerPoint variance.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening. Please.
Good evening. I guess, first of all, I wanted to clarify. So when we had this meeting last time, the subdivision was approved. Am I correct?
To clarify that, please? The preliminary.
I'm gonna defer to attorneys, city attorney Charles Hardy.
Mr. Pugliese, my understanding, of course, I wasn't here last time, my understanding is that the subdivision received preliminary plat approval. It still has to be submitted to final plat approval.
Okay, I'm just clarifying where we're at on that. The next thing is just basically regarding the wall. We are looking at having a wall around the entire property.
Yeah, that's we're hearing the wall. That's a.
I'm sorry.
So very.
All right,
Confusing.
okay, who's on first? So the wall that's gonna be built around the entire subdivision will be a block wall. The only place we're looking for an 8-foot variance is right where the hotel portrays into the property. It's the only place we want to do it. There's traffic in and out of the hotel. There's my father-in-law has property on the other side. There's needles being thrown over from the hotel constantly. It's just a mess. So we're trying to bring a nice community into this area. And basically, I do not want needles being thrown over into from that hotel. So that's the reason we're looking for an 8-foot section right there. The rest of it will stay at the 6 feet. The front of the community will be wrought iron. There's some photos, if I can show some photos of that.
Yeah.
So the wall, the gate will be similar to what we're looking at now. This isn't to size. This is just for example purposes, okay? The one down here on the bottom, this is what the front would look like. So it's not going to be all walled in. It'll be wrought iron and walled in the front. You go down a little further. This is what I'm talking about, it's tiering the wall, so it covers part of the hotel and then right back down to the 6 foot. Now, again, this isn't to scale, it's just basically for illustration purposes.
Yeah, so to kind of clarify some of the confusion here on the wall.
Yeah.
In our packet, so 8-foot block wall is proposed height to surround the proposed 6-lot subdivision. So you're only proposing the 8-foot wall on the southern edge.
Yes.
In the hotel.
Just the length of the leaves.
That's a big difference.
So, just, oh, we can't speak number. Can we speak?
I just want to make a clarification so you can continue with this presentation.
Well, no, I was just, yeah, no, it's not a question, but just so where Ms. Salazar's mobile homes would be 6 feet.
Yes.
And the Archuletas on the other side would be 6 feet, and then it would just be 8 feet on, like you say, around the.
Just
the
the
motel
length of
part.
the motel where that traffic constantly comes through, just to protect the subdivision, but not block views as such.
Right.
So that's what we're looking to do. That's basically the direction we're going with this. The type of wall, we're looking at a cafe colored wall, basically similar to what you see there on the right side. And that pretty much constitutes what we're looking at on the wall. As far as the rest of the systems, not really something we're just.
Staff, you have anything to add?
I have no further additions, I'm just gonna bring up the site, the plat here. So see the audience, see what it's about. Thank you.
So let's see here. Do we have any questions from the council commissioner, rather, from Mr. Fulgenzi?
No, it looks nice, and I'm very happy to hear that it will be going around, all the way around it.
Yeah.
I think that'll make the optics really, really nice.
Is there any proposal? Sorry, yes.
Are your block walls going to be filled with,
Yes,
cement or what?
yes, they will be filled. Yes,
With what?
they'll be cement filled.
Fill that strong.
Yeah.
Any other commissioners, any questions of the applicant? Any questions of the commissioners for staff? Who wants to?
We can look for the lady from.
Yeah.
Sure. See if we made it.
So in regards to the block wall, you're gonna have how many gates?
There's gonna be 2 gates.
Which where are they gonna be?
There'll be one on Middle San Pedro, one on Riverside.
So without that being approved yet, if that doesn't go through, would they, we don't allow for that type of egress on the end? Or you can fill that in or?
I've already applied to the state and they've asked for a study, which they said for 6 homes, there's no reason for a study, because it meets the minimum requirements. They do not want the traffic coming in off of Riverside. Basically, they'll allow the exit of it in emergency and for trash is what they have given us approval.
So the gates that's facing onto San Pedro will be the primary.
Primary end, and then you'd have the exit from the other side.
Neighboring property owners have received notice. Do you have any questions?
I'll clarify what I heard.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody from the general public wish to ask Mr. Fulgenzi a question or comment? Okay. Well, with that being said, that's a pretty short public hearing, huh? All right. Yeah, we're going to. Yeah. So at this point, we're going to close the public hearing at 7:07. Okay. So. Commissioners, do you want to take a little time to look at that a little bit and make a motion on this? Your motion.
Yes, I move that we approve and get the proper definition. We approve the variance to build a block wall exceeding the 6-foot height allowable in chapter 350 of the City of Española Code on the 6-lot proposed subdivision in a B2 zone at 610 Riverside Drive.
Commissioner, would you consider adding that it's only going to be on the,
Yes, the variance will only occur on the
North side.
north side wall for a certain distance.
between the hotel and the segment?
Well, it will be a certain distance.
Is that something you define as far as a certain distance?
No,
if you want it to
be defined.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
Can we just make it the span of the hotel? I
Yeah.
mean, I'll get you actual measurements when we submit.
That's what I was wondering, if you didn't have an actual span.
I don't have the actual with me right now, but it is.
It's kind of a hotel.
Okay.
Now, I believe that side is that the west side?
That's the west side, not north.
So what?
Yeah, but-
Right, well, that's why I wanted to know what side it is,
It's
so we
where?
understand west side,
Mr. Chairman, it's the west side, not the
west side. That was second to. Council.
I'll second it.
All right, so first and second to approve the request for the variance. Would you like to take a look at that one?
Yes, sir.
Would you?
Chair Trujillo,
For the motion.
Commissioner Salazar,
For the motion.
Commissioner Bustos. Yes. Commissioner Martinez,
For the motion.
Commissioner Gwen. For the motion. Commissioner Chavez,
For the motion.
motion passes.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to matters of the commission, from the commission. Do you have any comments about what? Anything you want to talk about? Matter from the commission? We still talking about that a little bit. Well, I think, I don't know if we can talk about a. Talk to him third and full, I think that would go against the rules. Okay. Talk about it, you can talk to Rebecca about your concerns though. No, that's okay, I'll ask you when we have next meeting. Sounds good. When he presents that. Any other matters from the commission? Yes.
I would just like to know ahead of time when there are issues that we need to be aware of, such as the two agenda items today. Because we're spending our time going to look at the properties and do different things, and if we're not going to discuss the issue or the agenda item, it would be nice to know ahead of time, not at 6:05 when we're asking for a break so that people can attend.
Understand. Any other matters from the commission?
It's like, it was,
I could do it. Go ahead. Cards. Oh, bills cards for commissioners. Yes, Mr. So,
I was bringing up the same issue. At our very first meeting that we had as commissioners, we went to a property up in by the country store in Santa Cruz. And when we approached the property, there was people coming out and challenging us, well, what are you guys here? What are you doing? You know, like, we had no form of ID. We had asked for badges or something, so we could identify ourselves, so. You know, I'm not young, but I don't want to die yet.
Commissioner, maybe in the workshop, have to narrow down what kind of entity that you guys want.
I'll keep taking Commissioner Chavez and I'll read them at this meeting.
No. I went faster than you.
a couple of things.
I got a lot of guards.
Couple of things on this, so let's all be careful in regards to exploitation information, okay?
Yeah.
When we go out to the site, you need to be almost invisible, shouldn't be trespassing anybody's property. You don't want to get shot, you don't want to get arrested, so I think you need to be really cautious there, what you're doing, and you're right, Rebecca, that's, the next topic we're going to talk about is the purpose of the workshop, so. I know all of us have a lot of things to do in life, you can add me to the list of people that have more to do than I have time, okay? But this is a very serious position that we hold, and you're right, Gwen. These workshops that we need to have to discuss matters and topics of the code will help educate you so you can say, hey, I don't have enough information on this. Okay? Why are we even hearing this tonight? This is not falling within the subdivision ordinance, it's not falling within the zoning ordinance. What are we hearing? It's not falling within the RV park ordinance, it's a hotel, what are we hearing? Because to hear all this stuff and not be able to make a decision is more of a waste of time than dropping it and getting to work, getting all the information you need as commissioners to make sound, solid, legal decisions. So I hope that we can create, and Rebecca and I talked about creating an agenda for some upcoming workshops. I know that I've heard that nobody wants to have anything for the summer, so okay, we can put them off till after August. But then I think it's worth our time and our efforts to meet, learn some things. I'm sorry that our minor subdivision ordinance did not make it to council yet. We passed that almost a year ago out of commission to the council. I still have hopes that it will be passed. In fact, that may be beneficial for an individual like Mr. Fulgenzi with the minor subdivision ordinance, if that was in place. And I had hoped that it would have been in place by now. But we still need to do the work as a commission. And if they choose to ignore it, I guess then that's amen. But we do need to address code deficiencies. We need to update the comprehensive plan. We need to work with other special projects that have been thrown on our plate. And we do not have time during regular meetings. If you guys want to be here until midnight, we can start trying to hash out those types of things. They're non-action meetings. It's for education purposes, just to give you the information you need to make sound decisions. Okay. That I think I want to welcome Rebecca. I have enough to be able to do this, Rebecca. I'm so happy that we have a director. We all look forward to working with you on all these matters. We really do. And I think that I know I'm speaking for myself, but I know I'm speaking for them as a group, that anything we can do for you resources wise, anything we can do for you support wise, please call us. I know you're still with a very anemic staff. I hope that changes because you have a ton of work to do. You know it, we all know it. What's that?
You said you were anemic, is he pale? And Matthew, you're pale.
But thank you. Okay. All right, no other comments from the commission? So I didn't see any minutes in our packet, but do we have any?
There is a review and approval of May 25th minutes, Mr.
Yeah, I didn't see my packet though.
Oh, they're on the packet.
I didn't get one.
They're attached, they were not in my packet.
We're gonna have to postpone those, I guess.
Are they done?
Oh, yes, they are. They're doing well.
So we'll do those at the next meeting. Okay, all right. What do we do with that? The carport that you put over there.
Commissioner, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Code enforcement and I went up there and we can talk about this offline, a little bit more in detail about that enforcement issue.
Well, I guess that.
All right.
I'm not saying here's from that.
With that, do we have any matters from staff?
No matters from staff in particular. I'd like to work with you guys on getting an agenda together for a workshop at the end of the month, if possible. If that is what you decide to do at the end of this month, that would be good. I know it's usually the fourth Thursday.
I think that you guys all talked about when I was gone, not to pitch off the deck, but we're not gonna have these till after August. Okay, so we'll just hold that.
Okay, so hold on until August. Okay. And
Thank you for the water and the cookies. Thank you for the water and the cookies.
and that's it, staff. It's that. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. And any other comments from anybody? If not, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sir. Good job. Thanks, sir. Thank you so much. Please. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I was like,
Yeah. Did that was this, and then.
See my brother last.
Oh,
Yeah.
that works.
And then hand all the.
Yeah. Thank you. So, thank you. With planning. Yeah.
You know what?
Well, it's good to make changes. I know there's so actually nice. And then you can have some developers.
See you guys later.
See you later.
Adios.
But I mean, that's really fun.
That's what I was. I like that.
We have that. Yeah.
Hey, Boris.
Yeah, it's coming.
You know what?
Yeah, they must use my dad and you have to. Like, in and out.
I understand what you use all of that, but it's saying over how that. That is. Yeah. So that it is.
For a long time. I've been doing good.
Got it.
That's what I thought. I just wanted that. Thanks, you guys.
You went after me last week.
Who did?
I think what she did, she made it a plan to speak with down the. She threw my name into it. What could it be happening inside of me? This is why, you know, I was redrafting, I was on the commission before, even chair. I said, when she went into our volunteer, and I said, well, I outlined all my volunteer stuff, and I put, I probably have 1,000 hours of community service. I said, what's your record?
She has way too much time on her hands.
One thing that I do want to mention, I was listening to the city council meeting on.
I don't care about-
Oh, sorry. I was listening to the city council meeting